course, that's, with hindsight about like really understanding what good looks like in terms of like designing that into my life. Certainly friends were resources in the sense that I could rely on them to help both like support me emotionally and also answer questions about things I didn't, have confidence in my day-to-day, like running the business.
Yeah.
A lot of like what I was relying on was like the resources that were provided through YC, through like founder community forums, through blogs, through the, like, I hate to say, but like Twitter and like things like that. When you're in that state, you're just like, I don't know, I'm learning, so I'm gonna go and do what I do and be resourceful, and I'm gonna go consume all this content out there. And then that like creates this like vicious cycle about like sort of like hustle culture, work yourself harder, be more boundary, blah. I was genuinely relying on those resources pretty heavily. I can look back on it and kind of joke about it now, but like at the time, that was what I had, and there was a genuine effort to take on all of the advice and all of the, be the picture of the founder CEO that those resources painted. What we learned was like square peg, round hole. Like it just didn't work. In terms of what I found useful were much more the tactical side. A lot of starting a company and being a founder early on is figuring out how to do things that are someone's entire job at a bigger organization. And so a lot of the things I found useful were around like the tactical sales, go to market, how to build customer pipeline, how to service customers, how to like interact with like an enterprise buyer, for example. A lot of those things, super, super helpful. I think a lot of the things that were in retrospect like not super helpful had to do with how do you run your team. There are a bunch of resources out there about like people who start, commit to some way of like doing day-to-day interactions with their team, with their co-founders. Those things ended up being much more destructive than they were helpful, because it was like, at the end of the day, those are sort of like outputs of some other input, which is building a culture that's genuine to the founder and to like the early team that you're building. Because I was in a headspace where I was really comparing like what I was seeing in the day-to-day of the team and my own performance and like our business results to these templates and what good looks like. And as an early stage founder, it created this distress and this anxiety that created this vicious cycle to where you get reactive and you start being super prescriptive about what you want versus genuinely like leading the team towards the results that you need to drive.